What is your happiest memory of being a child? It could be a park where you spent every Saturday with your siblings, or a relative's house where you spent every holiday. Frankly, my most delicious memories are more gustatory than sentimental. You see, when I was little, I liked sweets. My favourite was vanilla-laced sandwich cake, smooth chantilly cream, and of course, a kick of raspberry jam. Go on, it's so light, it's practically air, my granny would quip as I devoured her baking when I visited her welcoming home each school holiday. In fact, as I grew up, I came to enjoy food even more than I had before. I baked my own bread, feeling a sense of pride as I withdrew a crusty loaf from the oven. Unarguably, the best accompaniment to this is yet again jam. Are you feeling hungry? What prevails is that my best friend was a certain foodstuff called sugar. Wherever I went, sugar would always be there too. One of the most memorable examples was January the 1st, 2012. Despite my New Year's resolutions, I baked brownies. And instead of sharing them around the family, I ate the whole batch. And you know what? I loved it so much I didn't even feel sick, nor did I feel guilty about not sharing them around. Perhaps some of you can relate to my Achilles heel for sweets. Well, I can tell you I am certainly not alone. According to the FDA, an average American consumes 22 teaspoons of added sugar a day. Imagine having that spooned into a drink. Well, you can do more than just imagine that. There's a Starbucks treat that contains 25 teaspoons of added sugar. I hear a Starbucks will be opening in Milan next year. If you weren't already skeptical in the home of proper coffee, this will surely put you off. In fact, in Italy, the figure's at 14.4 teaspoons of sugar in total a day. And if that's in a country with a relatively healthy Mediterranean diet, it can only be worse in other wealthy countries. Okay, I want everybody to put their hand up, and I want you to take your hand down when you stop recognizing the words I'm saying to you. Sucrose, glucose, fructose, dextrose, high fructose corn syrup, saccharin, acesulfame K? I think my point is proven. There are tons of ways that sugar can be hiding in our food, and if we don't know what they are, we're going to get fooled. Now, the moment I became engrossed in the biological facts was when I read nutritionist Amelia Freer's book, Eat, Nourish, Glow. She explains that sugar-high diets make our bodies want to store fat. This not only goes around our liver, but also other muscles and internal organs. Unlike subcutaneous fat, that's flab, to put it crudely, this visceral fat is not visible to the naked eye. That means that any one of us right now could be clutching onto fat that we didn't even know was there. And if I haven't grossed you out enough, sugar has also been linked to aging and is said to form a caramel-like crust around cells. I don't have time to try and make you feel guilty about this. And in fact, I don't want to, because I like sugar too, so that would make me a massive hypocrite. But as much as it pains me to admit it, our bodies are not designed to cope with this much sugar. It is said that by the time a child is 8 years old today, they will have consumed as much sugar as an adult would in their entire lifetime 100 years ago. This may seem like a petty thing to do a talk on. You may really care about something else. Government cuts to the performing arts, for instance. Well, what difference would it make if your government had an extra £8.8 billion to spend a year? That's right. The UK National Health Service spends £8.8 billion on type 2 diabetes a year, primarily caused by unhealthy lifestyle, i.e. bad diet, i.e. sugar. Mood-enhancing endorphin hormones are released when we eat sugar, which is why you may have heard sugar compared to cocaine, which has the same effect. Next time around, the body wants more and more sugar to get the same hit. The body must produce more and more insulin to cope with this, until one day, bam, the body doesn't respond. Type 2 diabetes has landed. If we could eradicate the health crisis triggered by sugar, almost every issue that you feel passionately about could have more funding. The world would be a very different place if £8.8 billion was spared within and around different countries. Indeed, there are so many problems today that we feel utterly helpless about, but we have the power to knock this one on the head. Rather than asking you to add anything to your life, a donation to charity, although that's a great idea, or taking 10 minutes to meditate, also fantastic, what I am proposing to you should be simple. Have no more than one sweet fizzy drink a week. Consuming sugar in liquid form does nothing for your hunger, and you're likely to keep guzzling away. Say no to any of those long words I tested you on earlier. Some artificial sweeteners, such as aspartame, may be linked to cancer, so at least stick to a recognized form of sugar if you're going to have a treat. And finally, say no to being taken in by advertising campaigns. Corporations do not care for your personal interests. They just want our money. We do not need a sugary treat after every exam or workout. These may seem like baby steps, but I have a reason to hope that this can make a difference. The moment I was forced to accept the darker side of sugar was when I heard about Mexico. Mexico is the most obese country globally, and the finger can safely point at soda, which workmen consume liters of each day. But there is hope in Mexico. Michael Bloomberg, former mayor of New York, invested $10 million in a 3-year scheme in the hopes of preventing excess soda consumption. As a result, in 2014, a soda tax was introduced in Mexico. In the following year, sales of taxed soda were down by 6%, and sales of bottled water were up by 4%. The poorest Mexicans were consuming 17% less sugar than they had been the year before. Berkeley, California, Navajo, Chile, Barbados, and St. Helena all now have a tax on sugar. Colombia, Ecuador, India, and South Africa are all considering the option too. This is an example of how small local moves made a global impact, forcing other people to wake up to the global and health economic crisis triggered by sugar. And it has inspired me too. To conclude, the problem with sugar is that it transcends a choice between a carrot or a cupcake when you reach that well-known 4 p.m. energy slump. This is about you feeling empowered through the realization that you have the chance to say no whenever you want. Knowledge itself is power, as Sir Francis Bacon once said, and that is exactly what I am giving you today. We must act together or else nothing will change. We must take the initiative because we have the choice. If we take up my suggestions, we can make a global impact. Say no to any more than one fizzy drink a week. Say no to any scientific long names for sugar, and say no to being taken in by advertising campaigns. Remember, only 5 years ago, I was eating 12 brownies over a 12-hour period. That's 1 an hour. I once ate 5 fairy cakes and a double helping of chocolate mousse on one of those legendary trips to my granny's. If I can defy sugar, seriously, any of you can. Thank you for listening.